I've been wanting to expand my horizons a little bit, so bearing that in mind, let's go take some product photography. I am so glad I didn't drop that and it didn't cut my toe off. So, doing product photography, we're obviously going to need a product, so I've decided to choose this. A decorative hatchet that I got as a Christmas present from my father-in-law. And the reason why I'm choosing to use this is because of all these intricate little details. Very pretty. The good thing about this as well is it's completely dull. I'm not going to cut myself on it, so I can play around a bit. It's always good to have a good product, and with this amount of detail I can imagine it's going to look incredibly well on some photos, but we are going to need some extra stuff, so we're going to need some props. Let's go find some. Oh, well, on top of a hatchet that we have, we also have the stand for it. Slots in there quite nicely, and it stays, so we can use that and that will go quite well. Now, we need a location. Okay, so welcome to the carport. As you can see, there's quite a lot of stuff around, but a lot of it is very manly stuff. Manly stuff that I don't get involved in because I'm not very manly. However, it is the perfect area for a photo shoot with a wooden hatchet. So we're going to be filling the space a little bit. Not too much, you don't want to overdo it, but you don't want to have too little. So we're going to get a couple of video shots and a couple of photo shots. And I don't know what else I'm going to do from there. So we'll see. Let's have a look. Might be a little bit dark. Okay, I think we've got what we need out of this, so let's head back to the editing suite, see what we can make out of a couple of photos and a video. This is going to be fun. Okay, so I have a cuppa, so let's get all the files off of you into this, and then we can have a look together. Let's go. Okay, welcome back. Admittedly, it's been more than a few days. I got very busy, so we've traded the cup of tea for a can of Pepsi Max. Not sponsored. But if you ever feel like sponsoring me, cheers. So, after doing our photo shoot, I have quickly gone through all the photos and all the video clips that I've done, and I have come up with a few of my favourite ones, this being one of them. What we're going to do, we're going to go over to the adjust template. This gives us loads of different options, so you can see they have colour, you have the light, and you have the details. And then also you have the different scene. Now usually I do put a slight vignette just because I feel like it draws the eye to the image. So we're going to start off with the light of it. Before we start messing around with the colour, we're going to start messing around with the light. Now I don't want to change too much, but I do know that I want to make the axe pop out of the screen, really make that show that it is the main thing you're supposed to be looking at. So let's do some changes. We're going to up the brightness just a smidge. Exposure will just up everything massively. Brightness again sort of does the same. So we're only going to up the brightness a little bit. We're going to bring the exposure up just a tiny bit, just so you start seeing the details. Contrast, I don't want to mess around with too much. Now the contrast will basically mean the light and the dark and how much of a difference there is. So you'll see if I go all the way down, it's just grey. If I go all the way up, it is just horrible. So we're going to bring that down. We're going to bring it slightly up, but we're not going to do too much. The blacks I want to bring up a bit, just because it gives a slightly more faded look. The whites we're going to increase by a tiny amount, and the highlights again by a tiny amount. Shadows we'll bring down just a little bit. Right, we then have sharpen and clarity. For the love of God, don't mess with sharpen when you're dealing with detailed images. This is why. Grain. We're going to do instead, we're going to bring that sharpness just all the way down. Clarity is a little bit better, but again, you still get just this grain. So we're also not going to bring it all the way down because it just blurs everything out, which doesn't look great. However, it might work for the background. So we're going to bring clarity only to about 7, if that. Blur, I don't want to add. Grain, I definitely don't want to add. There's enough grain in this photo as there is. So again, we're going to just bring the clarity down a bit because I'm still not particularly happy. The only thing is there's just no details. So we'll up sharpness just a little bit. It just means that the pixelization isn't as pixelated. You can actually see what's going on here. And again, vignette, what I usually do with my own photos, this is my own personal opinion. I always add just a slight vignette. Not something like that, because it looks stupid, but just something like that, where it just sort of really draws your eye to the center. Glamour, I don't actually know what glamour will do on that. Oh. Well, in theory, that's... No to glamour, okay. It's not often that I like the dehaze function, but I quite like the colour of that before I've even done any colour grading. So I might actually keep that dehazing option there, because that's quite a nice colour to it. And the bloom, we're going to bring up just a little bit so we get some of that lightness back in. Right, now we can start messing around with the colour. One thing I have realised when I've been editing photos in the past is I'm very much a push saturation to the top. Doesn't look very nice. So one thing I have realised is that saturation, you don't want to move around too much. It's more of the vibrance. Keeps the original colours that are in the photo the original colours without pushing them massively. So I think that's a bit too orange along with the dehazer. So we're going to only just increase it by about 8. Saturation, I don't even think we need to move it. Temperature, obviously blue makes it cold, orange makes it warm. You don't want it to be too orange now when you've already got an orange haze over it, so we're going to bring it slightly down. And I like a slightly purpley tint on my photos because I just feel like it gives a nice overall balance. So as you can see from here, I have barely touched any. The sharpen obviously is a difficult one because you will get more grain depending on the quality of the photo. Bearing in mind that I am on not a low level camera, but a lower level camera than I prefer, it will always be a little bit more grainy, especially in a low light situation like this is. I was in the carport outside on a relatively overcast day. So that was always going to be the case, and I'm willing to make up for that, so that's fine. Let's have a look at what those details look like at the moment. So again, not too bad. When you start to zoom out, that photo looks pretty nice. It looks pretty good. I think I'm going to add just a bit more of a vignette. Maybe not. There we go. And then we're just going to crop just slightly. And then we're going to save it. Quality 100%. Go onto our Finder, find the documents, Axe Photo Shoot, and there we have it. So So here's a couple of the others that I've done previously. Now I really like this shot just because it really does show off the detail of the etching, and also the blade looks quite nice. Again, a bit grainy. You're always going to have that case, unfortunately, when it comes to the low light resolution, unless you can AI it, which I don't particularly want to do. And again, I'm not paying for Adobe Photoshop or Premiere Pro or anything like that because I don't have the money. Anyway, let's move over to our normal position. Okay, so oh god. Okay, so that was a rough tutorial on how I would do product photography and product videography. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think this is amazing or next level or perfect in any way. I have a lot to progress and change and work out as I continue through this journey. The biggest difference is that be creative. You don't need a camera. You could quite easily use your iPhone. At the end of the day, the iPhones are that good quality now that it's quite easy to do. I have a lot of time on my hands, and me just sitting here playing on the PlayStation for 8 hours is just causing my brain to eat itself. So I need to start doing things and trying new things and trying different ideas and getting it out there rather than just sitting there thinking what I could do and then leaving it. So this is a good way of sort of really testing my limits and my boundaries and pushing those limits and boundaries, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what this hobby is for. Finding out what you're good at, perfecting it, and even if you can't perfect it, get good at it and find something else that you enjoy and get good at that. That's the beauty of photography. That's the beauty of videography. There's so many avenues that you can go down. There's so many routes that you can look at, whether it's product, whether it's macro, whether it's sport, whether it's model, whether it's just vlogging. There's so many avenues you can take, and it's incredibly fun. So if this sort of thing is your idea of fun, go out with your phone, go find a really nice place to have a look at and take some bloody pictures. And whilst you're at it, if that is the case and this video has sort of made you feel like you want to go and do stuff, don't forget to like and subscribe, because there's a lot more coming out. And if you did enjoy this, why not click the follow button? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye. Right, I don't really know what to do after this. I now just need to put this all together.